There's a whole different way of thinking about type 2 and how it's not your fault, not because you're lazy or overeating or sedentary lifestyle, that there's actually a whole different way of thinking about it from the science of trauma. So I'm going to talk about the types of trauma that are actually risk factors. The data is actually overwhelming, the amount of it. I'll talk about some of the mechanisms and then talk a bit about, intersperse some of my story. One of the things that got me kind of curious in a way is I probably fit within the category of pre-diabetes. When I was in college, I especially noticed it. I had the hypoglycemia kind of reactions where if I would have intense sugar, like a brownie in the middle of the afternoon, I might actually get the shaky weakness kind of feeling. And there's a sense from that there may be something going on with sugar regulation and insulin when that happens, and that may be a pre-diabetes risk. And another piece that I've watched, because that has actually slowed down and improved with my own trauma work, my own personal healing with my chronic illness over the years, but I still need to eat a very protein-based, kind of like supper for breakfast. That's how my own physiology seems to work better. And as a doctor, and then even in the past, I don't know, 15 years, I've tried out glucometers and just following my sugars out of curiosity. And I've noticed that we tend to think that folks who are not diabetic and in that healthy range have a very narrow blood sugar range. And whenever I tested it with a glucometer, it was always pretty much in the 90s. And then one day I gave a talk at a diabetes conference and I was the last speaker of the day, and my stress levels just went gradually through the roof. And, you know, there were glucometers all over the place, people checking their sugars all day long, and mine was 200.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't think that was possible. And then listening to Susan Hallberg, a physician out of University, Indiana, one of her free online talks, she wears a continuous glucometer, glucose monitoring device, a CGM. She doesn't have diabetes as far as I know. And she mentioned in one of her talks that she was having watermelon with her kids one day, and she noticed that her blood sugar spiked to 170. And so it's just a really interesting thing to see. I've worn a CGM. I wore one for about 10 days just a few weeks ago, and I had spikes as well. And so this whole process of blood sugar regulation is really kind of like a window into our nervous systems and how they're working or not working the way we need them to. And that even those of us without diabetes can still have spikes, but it's that our systems come back down. That seems to be the really important thing. And that'll link into some of the things I want to say about trauma later on.
Awesome.
So
thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing your personal journey with that also. And that it makes me want to try that out as well. I do not have type 2 diabetes, but I'm always fascinated by, right, like what's going on in here? What's happening right inside, whether the things that we don't know about. So that's really interesting.
AVAIYA has changed my life.
AVAIYA has made me the woman I am today.
AVAIYA is my home.
AVAIYA is personal freedom.
AVAIYA is the reason my life continuously improves.
Let everyone in your life know about AVAIYA.
Everyone needs to know about this amazing company.
Thank you, AVAIYA, for appearing in my inbox.
What ALLEN and Ande Anderson have created at AVAIYA is what the world needs.